Hey Tim, Jim Thomas here. What do you want to accomplish in these practices here in St. Louis before you head up to Traverse?
Hi, Jim. Yeah, we just want to get the kids on the ice and get them acclimated to being in St. Louis. Obviously, a little bit of new equipment. And get them, I would say it's like stepping stone to Traverse City. Get them on the ice, get them playing together, have some sort of definition of how we want to play when we get there. But at the end of the day, is really just to get them on the ice, get them feeling comfortable.
I noticed the roster that you have here had 10 invited players. Is that a higher number and than normal? And also, just the fact that a lot of those guys, it seems like, came from like OHL programs where they didn't get to play. Did that factor into taking a look at some of these?
No, there's different things that you can bring players in for these. Obviously, we've done development camps in the past. We were able to bring our Europeans over and our college guys over. But obviously, with the timing of this year's development camp going right into Traverse City, we kind of combine it as one. So you're really constricted on the players you can bring in. Obviously, your drafted players that are playing in the CHL. Obviously, no college players can come just because they're back at school now. So you have to fill out a lineup. And so that's why we had to bring in more guys that were free agents this year.
Tim, a two-parter on Perunovich. How does he look coming off the shoulder surgery, and what kind of impact could he have, do you think, at the NHL level if he had the opportunity this year?
Well, he's a dynamic player at college level on the point, on the power play. He sees the ice very well. He makes other players better around him. He's had a full year, obviously, of rehabbing and getting ready for pro hockey. So he got a little taste of it last year before surgery. He's come in with a great attitude and really worked on his body. So I think it's you try and take positives as negatives. And obviously, we didn't want him to come in last year and have to have surgery, but that was the case. And now he's brought that as a good attitude and very focused and seeing and watching what pro is all about. It's going to give him a good chance to make a run at this roster. And obviously Traverse City is going to be the first step of that process. So we're really looking forward to seeing how his level of play is going to rise at this camp.
Tim, is he just to a point now where you know what you've got in the player, but he just needs to play games for you to really get a true evaluation, right?
Well, true, but again, you see these players playing against kids their own age and the same levels at college or at junior, but you want to see them to strive and see how their body and minds adapt to the pro level. So again, this is another stepping stone, and you never know how kids react. You like to think that they're good enough and their hockey IQ is good enough to rise and play at the next level. But again, you don't really know that for sure until you see it. So really looking forward to see what he's going to bring. And again, his attitude has been really, really good. He's going to be our captain here at Traverse City, so he's going to take a lot of responsibility, and we're going to put that upon him. And his expectations for us as he goes out and plays his game.
I wanted to ask you about Dakota Joshua. One, is it unusual to have someone with some NHL experience in Traverse City, and what do you want to see out of him?
Well, again, the rules of Traverse City have changed a little bit because of in the past that a lot of teams have brought a lot of free agents in and players that just to fill out their rosters. So this year's rules have allowed us to guys under entry-level contracts, 25 and under, can play. Now we've utilized that and brought in guys like obviously Dakota is one of the guys that played in the NHL last year. We've had a couple in the past have done that, so this is going to be a good stepping stone for him too. It's a real good tournament. It's a fast tournament. We're going to play him at center all of this tournament, and where we like to see him on the Blues roster. So he's excited too. He'll be assistant captain at this tournament as well. A lot of expectations with him, but it's just a real good first step before main camp for him.
You say he's developed, at least to us, he was kind of under the radar. Did anything happen over the last year or two where he made some steps forward?
Yeah, you know what? Big Walt always liked him, and he pushed for him for the trade in Toronto. And he came into our lineup in San Antonio, and a guy who was really unknown to us, just like you said, but he came in and had a good work ethic, good details to his game. and his progression was really good. And Kevin McDonald, our GM in San Antonio and our GM in Springfield, did a really good job with him. The games that he wasn't going to play that weekend because we had a full roster, he was able to get him games down in the East Coast, and it really did a lot of things with Dakota and really helped and further his development. Kevin was very instrumental in that. And then, again, you have to give players credit when credit's due. Is at the end of the day, you think you know these players, and you think that they can get to that next level, and you don't know until they play. And the players take a lot of responsibility. You give them all the tools, you give them the workout programs, you give them all the stuff that they need to do to be successful, and you just don't know how it's going to work out. And once a player gets and understands it, it's sky's the limit for a lot of guys. And he's one of those guys that really has taken it upon himself. And you have to give him a lot of credit. He's made the best of his time, and he understands what it's going to take for him to be a player at the NHL level. And we're really looking forward to seeing what he can bring.
And the Blues just put out a note that Bolduc has an injury and he'll be reevaluated before Travers. Just the seriousness of it, and maybe just trying to be cautious with him.
I would say it's a lot more cautious. We're going to give him a couple days off the ice. He was skating and participating in camp back in Quebec, so it just is more cautious. And obviously he's a first-round pick, and we want to make sure everything's okay with him. So we'll give him a couple days off and reevaluate and going into Traverse City.
And what part of his game really stood out to you guys as an organization?
Well, again, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I didn't really get to see him play live. All I saw was on video. So, but I do know that our scouts loved his creativity and his skill level. Very highly skilled player, a guy that sees the ice real well and is competitive. So that's the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing at this camp: his skill level, his skating, and his competitiveness.
A couple of your overseas players, Tork, Chenko, and Sandro. What did they get out of the KHL and the Finnish league, respectively? And how far away are either of those guys maybe making a true roster push?
Well, I'll start off with Chenko, and I don't like to harp on this, but you got to take positives and negatives, and what transpired last year gave him an opportunity to play in the KHL, and it was a good league for him. It's a type of league for a defensive player that can really excel and really hone his game. And for Chenko, gave him another year of under the belt of under our team concept and understanding what it's going to take to be a pro. But at the same time, playing the KHL, he got to play a lot more minutes against a little better competition that would have been at the AHL level. So it was a really good situation for him. Played a lot of 3-on-3, 4-on-4 minutes. Alexei Kovalev was his coach. Really liked the way he played. And again, it gave him another year of development and getting bigger and stronger. And honing his game. So we're really excited about him. Again, he's a guy that I feel that's very close. I think he's going to give us games at the NHL level this year. He just needs to really get a little bit better in his own end on the boards and really details. But he's a good, hard player. He works hard, and he's a big body. He's a good skater, and he actually plays a lot more physical than you would think. Than he has played in the past. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has. He looks like he's in really good shape, and obviously that year of maturity playing the KHL is going to really help him at this camp.
And Alexandrov?
Yeah, and Alexandrov, again, there's a guy, the toughest part of being coming out of junior hockey is that level going from junior hockey to pro, whether it be the NHL or AHL. That's the biggest step. Between the AHL and NHL, you see guys fluctuate all the time. It's details to games, and it's just consistency. But it's a huge step from junior to pro. And again, not last year, not being able to play the AHL right away. He got to play in Finland, and it's a really tough league. It's a very defensive league. There's a lot of grittiness that goes in those games, details. It's a hard checking, good forechecking league. So. It was a really good experience for him too, because it gave him that step in between the AHL and the CHL. So he got a good experience. And again, when you're playing in the Canadian Hockey League, he's a top line guy. When he played for the World Junior, he's a top end guy. When you turn pro, you've got to find where you're going to fit in, and your details have to be very good. Coach has to trust you in difficult situations. And this allowed him to play a different perspective of the game when he was there, because he wasn't the top-end guy. He was a third-line guy. He was a fourth-line guy. He moved up in the second line. So he got to play all positions, every line, and then even at center and taking key face-offs. So it was a good stepping stone for him, and I don't think he's too far. I think he needs a good year in the minors, and we'll see where he's at. But at the same time, I could see him coming up and giving us games as well if we need.
Neighbors was in camp last year and then went and had a pretty good year for the number of games they played. Just could you see him making some noise this camp?
Yeah, he made a huge impression on the coaching staff last year and the whole organization. Great attitude, very humbled a boy, and he's a hard-working kid. He spent a full month here on his own money to be here to get ready for camp in August, and he looks like he's a lot thicker this year. His skating, he looks like he's gained a step. He knows what to expect. He's been at this pace for the last month, skating with all the NHL players. Obviously, the pace is going to go up when the season starts, but he's a kid that we're really excited about, and really a guy that's going to push to be in this lineup very soon.
Tim, I got a chance to see a couple of his clips playing with the Oil Kings, and he just seemed like he played that power forward style of game. Does he have that type of a body, and do you feel like that's what he's going to be better equipped trying to play moving forward?
Yeah, and again, it's been unfortunate. I have not seen him live either because of the pandemic. So everything that I've seen and witnessed with him and talked to him and gone through Zoom calls with him indicates that he will do everything in his power to make this team. So he's got great character, off-the-chart character. Anyone I've talked to in the West League, especially his coaching staff, loves the way he plays, loves the way he brings his practice habits each and every day. So, his body has gotten bigger for sure, and he's done a really good job in transforming and getting stronger. So, again, these young kids, it's all about strength and conditioning and getting ready and maturing as a man to play at this level. So, it's another year under his belt, from an 18-year-old to a 19-year-old. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring at Traverse City first.
Did Tanner Dickinson help himself with his play up at the summer showcase at Plymouth, and does he have a chance to make the USA Junior team?
100%. You know what? I was very, very pleasantly surprised on his skill level. He controlled the half wall in the power play there. Great shot. He was really a guy that you noticed every game there. So right now, I would have to think they have him penciled in. He will have a great start to his year in Sault Ste. Marie. He's a kid that he's very slight still, but he's still put on, I think, 19 to 22 pounds since we drafted him. So he's heading in the right direction, but he's such a skilled player. I was really amazed at some of the plays he made at the World Junior team, and right now, for sure, I would have to say he's in a lock for that lineup.
And where's Tyler Tucker at now in his development? He's had at least parts of 2 seasons now in the age.
Yes, well, last year was his first year pro. Being there, we did bring him in at the end of his junior year for a couple of games, but last year was supposed to be his first year pro. He was really good last year. The coaching staff with Drew and JJ, they did a really good job with him. Here's a guy that when we drafted, we didn't expect much. He was a late pick, and you're hoping that he'll progress. The progression will be good with him, and it has been. He's really learned what it takes to be a pro. He's watched it now. I just say he's a gamer. He just knows how to play. He's not your prototypical defensive D that just stays back. He's up in the play. He's big. He will fight. He's physical. He brings a little nastiness to his game. So, and his skating is a step better than it was last year. So, again, I keep saying this, but we are looking forward to seeing what these kids do, because it's exciting to see what they do in the off season with their work ethic and in the gym, and then you want to see that brought to the ice. At the end of the day, if it hasn't improved on the ice, then the weight and the strength doesn't matter. But you would like to think that as they get bigger and stronger, that their play on the ice will improve as well. So he made some big strides last year. He was a very pleasant surprise for our coaching staff last year and how well he played. He ended up being a top 2 D there. Again, we think we had him penciled in a little bit lower than that, but he proved that he can play, and he's a player that keeps getting better every year for us.
You mentioned a couple of guys you haven't had a chance to see, obviously because of the circumstances. I mean, what's this like for you to have all these guys under the same roof and actually get to watch them play hockey?
Well, first and foremost, like, again, when I saw there were 6 of them on my flight from Toronto and you have to wear a mask, it was hard because I don't know who they are, and you're kind of go, hey, I'm Tim, and then they say their name and you know who they are finally. But it's nice to get them all here and really get to see who they are and get to know their personalities. Because at the end of the day, that's my job. My job is to get to know them as people and push them as players and help them along the way. And the last year and a half has been really tough not being able to do that. Doing Zoom calls once a week with them, trying to be creative and do things that we get together as an organization has been difficult. But now we're getting somewhat close to normal again. It's nice to be around these players and really start to be able to do your job and push these guys. And again, it's just nice to see them here in St. Louis. And for them, a lot of these guys are first time here. Unfortunately, we haven't had a development camp for 2 years, so it's been really tough for these guys not knowing what they're missing out on. And, to start their pro careers, to feel like they're drafted now. Here's their draft day. Now they get to see what the ultimate goal is all about.
In goal, Hofer and Ellis both obviously start at the junior level, but what are the keys now as they make the transition?
Well, Hofer's last year was his first year too, so he obviously was here as a taxi squad for a little bit, and we were able to get him down and play some games in Utica. So he's made some big strides. He looks bigger. He looks stronger than net. His push-offs look stronger. He takes up a little more in net now. So we're expecting him to be the number one guy in Springfield and really push to get in the lineup at some point someday. So. Again, goalies take a little longer for development, but it's nice to see his progression, his development, and he'll be a guy that will probably play most of the minutes in Traverse City. So, again, we expect him to be our third guy within the organization. So he's got to be ready and really keep progressing. And then Ellis had a great year last year. The records he set, and we were pleasantly surprised with him as well because. When you draft these guys, you just don't know how what their work ethic is like and where they're going to end up in a year or two. But he's made some big strides as well, and the coaching staff raves about him and PI from last year. Came in a great attitude, great team guy. So again, now he's coming on his first year pro. So we're looking for him to make some big strides this year and keep progressing as a goalie. And we got Cranley. That again, there's another guy that we drafted in 2020 that I just got to meet for the first time. Physically, he was one of the guys on my flight, but he reminds me he's got a body like Ben Bishop, tall and really thin. So again, he's going back to junior this year, and with like all these players, we just want to keep them developing each year and keep them heading in the right direction. And at the end of the day, their play will dictate where they end up.
And for someone like Hofer, was it development-wise only getting 10 games last year? How much of that slowed him down?
Well, again, it wasn't optimal. We would have loved to see a full AHL season and give him as more games as possible, but the circumstances weren't there. So again, you have to make the best of it, and we got him in some games, and we got him practicing at a high level when he was with the taxi squad here. So you've got to take the good with the bad, and we did the most we could to try and get him to keep developing. But again, you're right. If we'd rather see him play 50 games in the AHL if we possibly could, but again, the world didn't allow that to happen.
Tim, we saw Thorburn on the ice. Is he helping to coach not just here, but will he be up in Traverse City as well?
Yeah, he's going to come in Traverse City. We brought him on. He's going to help a little bit on the development side. So he's a guy that's just come out of the game. He's got some good ideas. He's still, his mind's still with the younger generation, so he can help with us with acclimating to that. So it's another tool for our young guys to utilize for a guy that went through the minors, played in the NHL. The ebbs and flows of what a career is like in the NHL, AHL, minor leagues. He can help with all that. So it's another tool for our kids to utilize to make them get better each and every day.
Well, he'll stay on in a development role after Traverse.
Yeah, we're going to utilize him throughout this year. He's going to come with our. I'm going to use him to go visit our AHL team and see some players. So, he's just helping out right now.
Everybody good? Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.